acquiring donors using great content offers. And I knew immediately after that you guys were all going to be having fun putting together your first content offer. And I got to look at some of the submissions that came in. And I just loved seeing the creativity and the way you were driving value, because every one of you represents a unique organization and you have your own particular set of content that your ideal donors are interested in. And no two examples that we received as submissions for homework were alike. And I loved that because that just speaks to how unique we all are and the work we do. So Jordan and I are thrilled that you're here for today. We are recording this, so you will always have access to it if you want to go back and reflect on anything. Today, we're now going to equip you to take that content offer and begin promoting it both to your existing subscribers and using it to acquire new subscribers and donors. If this is your first meeting in a couple of sessions, then I want to introduce myself. My name is Artie Coolidge. I'm a vice president of client services here at Next After. I know I'm not Nathan. There is no other person quite like Nathan. He is one of my dearest friends, but I'm so honored to be able to step into his role here and guiding and leading these trainings. And we are so excited here at Next After to help you engage your donors more effectively online. Just as a little bit of background, before I joined Next After 3 years ago, I worked at 3 different nonprofits. So I spent about 10 years at each across those organizations. And at each one, I had at least 4 different jobs in one that I was doing. So if that sounds familiar, I've walked that road with you. I know what it's like to try to figure out how to get donors with no budget. I know what it's like to try to figure out how to make ad creative when you're not very creative, like myself. I walked that road, and I just get so much joy about being able to meet with others who are walking that road and come alongside you and just encourage you, because the work you're doing matters. I know it can be tiring. I know there's a lot of challenges that can come up, but taking time for things like this, getting together with others across the nonprofit space and learning together, it was one of the biggest sources of inspiration and encouragement I had walking that journey. So we are so glad you made time for this today. But before we get into anything else, I wanted to open up the meeting with an icebreaker. What was your favorite animated television show as a child? I would love to hear it. Put it in the chat. Spoiler, that is mine on the screen. I would love to see if anyone knows it. I won't say what the show is, but feel free to put the show in the chat as well if you would like. Shauna says The Munsters. Amazing. Rugrats. Very good. Pinky and the Brain. Yes. And you are right. It is, Jordan. You're right. That is DuckTales. Arthur. Okay, now I'm hearing the library rap. You know what I'm talking about? That library rap, once you hear it, it's like an earworm. It's stuck in your brain. I'm convinced of that. Flintstones, Animaniacs. Amazing. Gem. I don't think I've heard of Gem. That sounds like an interesting cartoon. I'm going to have to look that one up. Yes, there's the lyrics to the Arthur library rap. I actually shared it. There's my team includes several young members of Generation Z, and they never heard of the Arthur library rap, and I shared that with them, and it was a great moment of history for them to experience. One of the best parts of childhood. Pink Panther, Scooby-Doo. I just showed my kids some of the original Scooby-Doo cartoons, and they loved them. They age so well. It's amazing how those classic animation from the 60s and 70s still just ages well. David the Gnome, Smurfs, these Pink Panther, classic. Thank you guys so much. Hopefully this gave you a little inspiration if you're trying to figure out what to watch and there just doesn't seem to be anything. You can find these now on YouTube, fun fact. So that's what I did with my kids, and we were able to relive some of those glory days. A little bit of housekeeping for today's training. What I want you to expect is the following. First, you're going to learn how to build a content offer landing page and donation page. And if you're listening to that and going, what in the world is a landing page? Don't worry, we're going to discuss it. It'll all make sense as we go through this training. And then once you've learned how to build those, we're going to teach you how to email your subscribers your content offer and promote it on organic social media. And the beauty of that is it doesn't cost you anything because it's organic. It's right there on your organic feed. For those who have some money that they want to put in, boosting ads, we'll talk briefly about that as well. But by doing this, you're going to have a funnel, a way of drawing people to your cause and getting them to give you their email address. So I'm just going to ask a question. Did anyone wake up this morning and say, God, please send me someone asking for my email address? Anyone? No one's raising their hand. Of course not. That's not what we wake up saying, let alone waking up and saying, God, please send someone asking me for money. No one wakes up saying that. And that's why this content offer funnel is so important, because no one wakes up asking for someone to come to them needing something. But we all wake up wanting to get something out of the day. And you creating this content offer funnel is meeting that heartfelt need in your potential donors. And your action items, your homework coming out of today's session is to create landing and donation pages, and then an email to email your content offer to your house file. Now, that house file term, it's kind of insider marketing, but it just basically means your subscriber list, those that you own as an audience that you don't have to pay for to promote or advertise to. All right, so that's what you can expect from today's session. And this is the framework that we're going to be doing. All right, you're going to implement your email acquisition page to get an email address. All right, you're going to implement your instant donation page so you can get a donation. And you're going to build a network by promoting either through ads or emails or organic posts your content offer. That's the framework that we're walking through today. But the first step for that is how to create a landing page. This is the designated web page you want people to land on after clicking an ad, a web link, an organic post, or a link in an email. This is the first place they land. Now, someone's probably going to immediately want to ask, but wait a second. If I already have their email, why don't I just send them the PDF, right? I made it. I already got their email. Why would I send my email audience to a landing page where they have to ask for it through a form? We've actually tested this, and here's what we found. You actually get better conversion rates when you have a form for someone on your house file to click through to than if you just give them the PDF, because it aligns their interest. It's the same reason why Colorado Gives does not send out a Zoom link just in an email. What do they send you to? A landing page to register. Because we as human beings put work in the things we value. And if you want to see conversion, it's actually good to have some level of friction. And so we're going to talk more about that throughout today. But even for your house file, even for your subscribers, you're going to need a landing page for them to go to. The beauty of a landing page is it works for visitors because they have the ability to match the intention and interest of that website visitor with your most relevant information. All right. It's matching the intention and interest of the visitor with the most relevant information to them. Has anyone visited a website and you start looking at it and you're like, this isn't for me? Like, this is the wrong place. Like, how did I get here? And you quickly back out. A landing page is powerful because it creates an opportunity to avoid that, because you're aligning their interest with what you have that's relevant. And thus, the key to making a great landing page is to make it properly conversational. One of the first things I know Nathan shared with you all, it's one of the foundational principles we've seen in our research at Next After, is that people give to people, not fundraising machines. Giving is one of the most human actions any of us can take. So even in our marketing copy, we need to be conversational and authentic because it's a deeply personal interaction. So the email acquisition landing page has 3 goals. Sell your offer. And I say sell because you are selling something. It's free, but you're still convincing them that they need it. Gather visitor information and then redirect them to an instant donation page where they can make a gift. Those are the 3 goals of your email acquisition landing page. All right. And we're going to walk through how to do that. So here is an example of what an email landing page could look like. So up here you have your logo, right? Here you have an image of the offer. Here you have a simple form with a Get Offer Now button. Notice this button doesn't say another word. Someone put into the chat the most common word that people put on these form buttons. I see it every day when I go to nonprofit websites. I was just looking at one 5 minutes ago that had this word. Anyone want to guess? Good guess. Donate. Often not on the form for getting the ebook, but it is the form button on donation pages. So I'll accept it as an answer. But what is the most common thing you see on a form where you're being asked for an email address? It's a word that says submit. Anyone see that? It's the most common form button in the universe, submit. Funny thing about that word, in the United States especially, people don't really like submitting to things. Have you noticed that? Maybe, I know I don't, right? Like we don't like being told what to do. But for some reason, marketers decided the word submit the form was the button language to put. We've tested it, and every time we test it, get, outperform, submit. And that kind of makes sense intuitively, doesn't it? Because again, we all wake up wanting to get something out of our day. I don't think any of us wake up saying, I want to submit to someone or some org or something. No. So why use the word submit in your form? Get it out. That's an easy optimization I can give you for free right now on your forms on your website. If you say the word submit, trade it for something that's more value driven. So there are 4 shortcuts to making a compelling landing page: main message, design, the fields of the form, and supporting content. So we're going to step through now each of these 4 shortcuts to arm you with what you need to make the best landing page you've ever designed. We're going to start with that main message shortcut. Here is a test of a winning headline. From this, get expert policy analysis from some of the nation's most trusted authorities, to this: get expert analysis in your inbox each morning. That's what we tested. And when we did, we got 6.2% more emails acquired. And when you stop and you look at it, you start realizing something. All right, get expert policy analysis from the nation's most trusted authorities. How often? Once a year? Once a quarter? Every day? What's going on here? I don't know. There's a lack of clarity in this headline that's not lacking here. Get expert analysis in your inbox each morning. I know that I'm going to get a daily email if I sign up for this. And here's what's funny. You might think that if you're telling me I'm getting it every day, that I'm less likely to sign up because that's more emails, not less, right? So maybe we should hide it. No. When we told them it was more emails, it led to more signups, not less, even though we all intuitively think we're getting too many emails. So what's going on here? Clarity trumps persuasion. So when you're making your headline, make it clear. Our CEO, Jeff Giddens, recently posted on LinkedIn a picture of a repair van he sees in his neighborhood all the time working on people's houses. And the side of the van had one word, and I think it was just simply Windows. That was it. And you look at it and you're like, that's the most boring company name ever. Like, what? But it's clear. What are they there to do? Fix your window, right? So be clear, because it actually will be better than trying to be overly persuasive. Here's another example from our library of testing, a winning call to action. So instead of just the form, we actually put above the form, where can we send your guide? Do you see this? All the language on the landing page was the same. We just put above the form, where can we send your guide? Now you would look at this and think, well, obviously, if I want the guide, I need to complete the form, right? I think we're all understanding that. That's how the internet works. You go on a landing page, you want something, you got to give them information. But when we added one sentence, where can we send your guide? 100% more email signups. Not 5%, not 10%, 100%. I like to think of visitors to the website, including myself, like Dory. If you've seen Finding Nemo, Dory always needs help remembering why she's there or what comes next. We need to guide our reader on the page which means we need clarity even in the CTA above the form. So don't just put a form and expect them to know that's how they get it. Say explicitly that's how they're going to get their ebook or offer. This is a good for all, wonderful offer that they had on the life and work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a higher law. They had on their control, don't download the free ebook right now and find out what can Martin Luther King teach people of faith about human rights. That was their landing page. They tested it against this. His world-changing movement began with his faith. How can today's world changers learn from the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.? Get the free ebook right now. Subtle, but pretty distinct, the differences here. And the impact was not subtle at all, 134% more. And I'll just ask a question. What sounds like less work? Get the free ebook right now or download the free book right now and find out? Get the free ebook. Even the word download can sound like work, whereas the word get doesn't. Do you see that distinction there? And again, people go online not to work more. We're already doing that enough, but to get something of value that doesn't cost them a lot of time or resources. So here's a checklist for what you need for the main message on a landing page. And this is an example landing page from the Hoover Institute on economics and tax cuts. Does your headline clearly focus on what they get without being clever? That's the first checklist. So for this example, get Trickle-Down Theory and Tax Cuts for the Rich by Thomas Sowell. All right, that's pretty clear. That's what I'm getting. That's the author. All right, so we're going to check it. Does your body copy focus on what they're getting without focusing too much on you? This is a common mistake we can make because we're passionate about our organization. We're passionate about the work we do. So the mistake we can make is we make the landing page all about us. It's not what they're there for. We need to talk about the actual resource we're offering. So in this, we see this book examines common idea of tax rates on the rich, increased government revenue based on empirical data and careful analysis. Sowell examines this hypothesis and revisits the origins of the idea of trickle-down theory and tax cuts for the rich in his signature style that we've all come to love, and it goes on. So I would check this because the body copy is focused on what I'm getting. It's not focused on the Hoover Institute. It's focused on the resource that they're giving me. Does my, but I will say there's something lacking here. And that is a mention of the Hoover Institute. So I marked this green and red because I would love to hear a little bit about how the Hoover Institute's work brought this about or the work in it. So I'm marking this green and red, but I like it overall. If this was your landing page, I'd still give it a bigger check for green than red. Does your call to action header reinforce simply what they're getting and how to in that order? Simply complete the form below to get your free digital copy now. All right, I'll give that a check mark. It reinforces it. It's easy. Does your call to action button also reinforce what they get? Get your free copy now. Why do we put the word now? Because we want immediacy. We don't want to be waiting. So we're not going to say get your free copy in 10 days or next week. We're just going to say get your free copy now because they are. It's an instant form. They complete it. It will be sent to them. So this is our checklist for a landing page. What about the design? This is what I mean by design. All right. What should the landing page design look like? It should communicate clearly what they get and how to get it without distraction or misdirection. Here's another place nonprofit landing pages easily fail. We can be too beautiful for our own good. And what I mean by too beautiful is we can have all this great design elements, but they're not central to the actual value of the offer. And they distract the user and confuse them rather than helping them on the page. Here's an example. This is version A. For the Texas State Historical Society, we talked about them last month. This is version B. I'm curious, put in the chat which one you think looks prettier, version A or version B. Just drop it in. B, 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 B. I don't see any A's, all B's. But watch what happened. 19% fewer emails. It doesn't matter if this is prettier looking, if it's not actually visually clear and undistracting and uncluttered. And something that you need to notice about this design, where's the form? The form is at the top. Where's the value proposition explaining why this book might be interesting to me? On the bottom. We're making the ask before we've explained the why. Whereas on this page, yeah, it's uglier, but I have all the reasons you want this ebook on the top above the form. It would be like me walking right up to my now wife back when I first met her and immediately saying, would you like to marry me? Putting the ask above the form, fold, if you will. Of course, she would have said, you're nuts. No, I don't even know you. I needed to go through some value propositional experience with her before she knew that she actually wanted to make that commitment. It's the same in a smaller degree for your landing page visitors. And that's why there are 19% fewer emails on this design. So here's the checklist that we're giving you, and you're going to have it in your notes for, do you have any distraction or misdirection on the page? So first, does your layout lead people through each piece of content in the proper order, all right, and not allow them to read it in a different order? We do not want to choose your own adventure. The way this page is laid out, you're going to be reading left to right, top to down, just like we want. So we're going to check that box, green. All right. Next, does your design reinforce that proper information processing path? All right. Does it reinforce that, showing that this is the next step, the form? Yes, it does. So we're going to check that. And does it make the main message clearer and not cause people to skip over parts of it? Yes, it does. So we're going to check that. So that is your checklist for how to make sure your design is proper. What about form fields? Now this, someone's always like, wait, why are we talking about form fields? Aren't form fields just form fields? They're actually more important than you realize. So I'll give you an example from our research. Here was the control. Send me my imprimis now. First name, last name, email, street address, city, state, zip code. All right. Versus first name, last name, email. All of that information on the left was removed. We increased email signups 136%. The information you're asking for matters. I have been on countless nonprofit sign-up forms for email addresses where it asks me for information that's unnecessary. Things like, what's my am I Mr., Mrs., Miss? How did I hear about us? What am I most interested in? All of those things are extra work for the user that will slow them down and are not necessary to getting the ebook. So I would recommend removing them from this form because you're likely going to get more email signups. Here's another. So here's our checklist. Are the form fields grouped together to make it feel shorter? They're not really grouped together. If you combine first name and last name on the same form field, you will actually shorten the length of the form and make it feel like less work. Do you have form fields that are unnecessary? This one doesn't have unnecessary form fields, so we're checking it. Is there any information the visitor perceives you should be asking for to make it more customized? Yes, first name. People ask me this all the time. They say, well, Artie, should we ask for the first name? We don't need it to send them an email. But the answer is always ask for first name. Why? Because without it, you can't make that email feel authentic and personal. How do you feel when you get an email that says, dear valued customer? Do you feel known? Do you feel cared for? Do you really feel that valued? Probably not. We want to get your name. So instead it can say, dear Rachel, here's what you need to know about the impact of your gift. Someone asked about the phone number. This is a great question. Should I ask for phone numbers? Here's where I would ask for phone numbers. I would ask for phone number on the donation page. And I wouldn't make it a required field because we've tested this. If you require phone number, you see a decrease in conversion. If you make it a non-required field on the donation page, you'll actually typically see no negative impact on conversion and you'll get a lot of phone numbers. Anyone know why? Auto form fill functions in Google Chrome. When you go to a website page and it asks for something and you're used to filling it out, Google will automatically fill it out for you. So you tend to get a lot of phone numbers. But I'm always about providing value. That's my watchword when I'm working with donors and organizations. So we asked the question, how can we provide more value in this? And what we found is if we actually tell the person what we're going to use their phone number for, we actually increase conversion by asking for phone number. So we add a little sentence of language on the phone. What's your number? We want to send you updates about the impact of your gift. And when we've tested that, we've seen not only more phone numbers, but higher donor conversion. And Jordan just pointed out, thank you for that. You have a lot of options for phone number requirements in the Colorado giving page. So that's something that you'll definitely want to take advantage of. And again, and to your point, Cassie, I don't like phone numbers on email sign-up forms. Don't have it there. It doesn't make sense. But if I'm ordering something or I'm giving someone financial information, it's more common that a phone number is requested. So that's where in our testing, we've recommended leaving it as an optional field on those forms. Great questions. Please keep those coming. What about reducing the number of form fields and using horizontal space to increase conversion? We tested that. Take a look at this form on the left. Take a look at this form on the right. The one on the right feels like less work because we've removed fields and made it less vertical. We've combined on one line and removed fields, and we got 48% increase in emails. So again, form fields matter. What about the supporting content? This would be social proof or quotes. Well, we've tested those and they work. So experiment. Instead of logo, how many signatures we've gotten on a petition? Just adding that signature box on the petition had an increase of 8.5% in signatures. So give a little social proof. How many people have you served? How many people have enjoyed the ebook, right? Those are things you can do. Here's a test. The National Breast Cancer Foundation, they had this wonderful ebook. And then they added a picture of an actual survivor talking about the ebook. This is invaluable information. 15% more emails acquired. Do you see that? And this makes sense to us because what do we do on Amazon? Often the first place we go when we're researching a product is to the reviews. What do real people think about this? So that's what you want to be able to do here as well. So here's your supporting content checklist. Are you using social proof on the page? So when we look at this page to see, are we using social proof on the page? We have some social proof on this page. All right. When we look at down here at the bottom, it says the best ebook I've read in years, easy to understand and so rich with data, John Q from Maryland. All right. Are you learning using testimonies? Yes. And have you considered supporting content like a countdown? And this is a countdown that they added as a test and it worked. So it's like a limited time deal to get this ebook. People love countdowns. It adds pressure. That's something you can add if you want. It's a freebie. You don't have to have it on your landing page, but it can be helpful. All right. Here's a few helpful resources because your landing page is really important. And we've just started talking about it. And for sake of time, I can't go through every single step that you could do to make your landing page the best. So if you want some extra credit, download this, nextafter.com/email landing page. It is the template that you can use for making an amazing landing page. And we actually show you the different things with the data from our tests of how to make it look good. Sorry, I didn't mean to advance slides there. There we go. So you can use this as a one-pager to review as you're designing your page. And if you are using Unbounce, that is a tool for creating landing pages. If you're using Unbounce, you will also get in that download file a template for an Unbounce landing page using the designs that we just talked about. So it's just another resource that's available to you if you need it.
Artie, could you just clarify how folks would leverage Unbounce? So that's just to quickly generate or spin up landing pages that you're sending folks to, just like we're talking to, so you don't necessarily have to go through your webmaster
Exactly.
to complete marketing campaigns. Okay, got it.
Unbounce, you can either use their domain, so it's super easy, or if you got just a little bit of developer knowledge, it's pretty simple to integrate it with your domain provider. And the Unbounce landing page is then hosted on your domain. So it could be artiesorg.com/landing page, and it would be the Unbounce landing page. Unbounce has free tiers going up to paid tiers depending on web traffic. There's a lot of other landing page solutions out there. It's just one that we've used before, and we have a template available in for free. And this is nextafter.com ub-offer-page. That is going to be your Unbounce template that you can download if you wanted that for Unbounce. And that, friends, is the first page. When they complete this form, they are then able to receive via email their ebook. All right. And Heather just posted in the chat, amazing shout out. Thank you, Heather. She used Catch a Fire and someone helped her create a landing page. Do not forget you're not alone in this. By being part of Colorado Gives and Level Up's community and Catch a Fire, you have all of this amazing assistance right at your fingertips. So make sure you're taking advantage of it. All right. We've got the landing page. Now it's time for an instant donation page. All right. Where are we in the flow? Just as a reminder, this is a model for new donor acquisition. This is what we talked about last month. Your ad or your organic post is here, or your email. Then you have your email acquisition landing page. That's what we just talked about. When they complete this form, it sends them an email with their actual PDF to download. But when they complete this form, it also loads an instant donation page. So we've already talked about creating this thing right here. Now we're going to be creating this thing, the instant donation page. All right. So that is where we recover the cost of the work it took to promote our ebook and create our ebook. Because even though it's a free ebook, it wasn't free to create. It took your time. Time is money. So you need to get value from it. And this is the proven way to do it with an instant donation page. Because we have looked at the research, we've done this countless times with our clients. And because no one goes online saying, God, please send me someone who's asking for money. We all go online wanting to get something. If you first offer something for free and then ask for money, you get a lot more donations typically than if you just said, hey, would you donate to us? It also means you get to stand out from the crowd, because there are still at least 3 or 4 nonprofits asking directly for money for every one nonprofit that I've seen offering something for free first. So you can still be on that cutting edge, even now after years of doing trainings on this. All right. So there are 5 key items we're going to walk through here for making an instant donation page. They're your confirmation and introductory message, the main message and the ask, the donation selection and the amounts, the form, and trust marks and security reinforcement. Those are the 5 elements that make up your instant donation page. The first one needs to confirm receipt of the free offer, and it needs to do this quickly. Why? Because the last thing I did was say, send me my free ebook on cancer. So you better tell me on the next page, right, that I'm getting that it's on its way to me, that I'm going to see it, so I don't feel confused or lost. So here's how we tested this. Experiment here on the left. The control said, congratulations, you're enrolled in the I Still Do online course. before you begin your course, there are 5 important things for you to know, and we have them listed out. All right. Versus this on the right. You're now enrolled in the online course. Before you start your free online course, which will arrive in your inbox shortly, there's still a few things we'd like you to know. Do you see how that changed right there? Here we said you're enrolled before you begin, but where's my course? How do I get it? Where do I find it? We answer the question here in the treatment. And by doing that, we got 165% more donations on the page. 165%. Because we told them, hey, you did it. You're signed up. It's on its way to your inbox. It'll be there very soon. But there's something you need to consider before you go. I saw Caitlin had a question. Their content offer is a quiz. And she's asking, is it better to have the acquisition landing page, instant donation page with a skip button? Or is it better to have the donation page without the skip button and send them an email to get to the content offer? Quizzes are best held on your website. What we often do is we use the quiz on the landing page where they're signing up their email. So they sign up, they complete the quiz with their email address, and then it loads an instant donation page and says, hey, here's your score. Well done. Did you know that right now we're doing A, B, and C to address these issues of the quiz? And your gift of any amount can help make that possible. So that's probably the format I would use. Post your quiz on the landing page, have the form to submit and get the results. And on the results page, have a chip in instant donation opportunity. Great question. We tested from this. Thank you. Your copy is on its way to your inbox right now. All right. To this, thank you, Jeff. Your copy is on its way to your inbox right now. We actually personalized it with their first name, and we got 502% more donations. 502%. Now, your mileage may vary. I saw this test, and I tested it at the nonprofit I worked at, and it didn't work. So I don't know. Maybe my donors just didn't like their first name on the form as much. But we are used to more than ever seeing personalized experiences. When I open up Amazon, it says my name. When I open up Netflix, it says my name. If you're getting the name on the first landing page, you can pass that name through to the donation page and actually have it feed in with the form data. So that's something you could look at doing. If you're not sure how to code it, ask the Catch a Fire community. It's something I'm sure they would be able to help you with, but it is something worth testing. All right, so that's our confirmation message. What about the main message asking for money? What do we need to do there? Well, we need to make the ask in context of what they just received. This is important. If I give you a free ebook on how to identify early warning signs of cancer, and the donation page isn't about cancer, it's not going to perform well. This is why we said at the beginning, when you're choosing a content offer, align it with the heart of what you do. Because there are issues you could do a content offer that would be very popular and get a lot of subscriptions, but they're not aligned at all with your work, so it won't mean anything in the long run. And we want it to be meaningful for our ideal donor. So here's some examples of what I mean. Not this, sign up successful. Thank you for signing up for Boys Town's Tween Discipline email series. Look for your first email to arrive in your inbox. For more useful information, click here, support Boys Town. That's just generic. That's not what we need here. So what we did was we made it much more aligned, and we gave them all of this value proposition as to what we exist to do and how we serve parents like the one who just signed up for this guide for parenting. And when we did that, we increased donations 148%. Now, immediately someone's going to say, but look at how much longer that is. That's friction. It's not friction. It's value proposition. This is actually telling me what my gift will do and why it matters and why you matter. All this is saying support Boys Town. All I came here was for an ebook. I might not even know what Boys Town is. And that's the thing. Just because they came in here doesn't mean that they know everything you're going to do or why you exist. So we need to reinforce that on the donation page. Heather says, what about including the donation ask on the email that provides the free content? Absolutely, Heather. I love having it as a soft ask in the email. So when the content arrives, it's, hey, Jamie, so excited that you got our ebook on early cancer diagnosis. We're hopeful it helps you and your family make informed medical decisions. Please let us know what you think of it. Before you go, did you know that every time someone donates $10, we're able to do A, B, and C to help raise awareness about cancer in our community? Would you just kindly consider chipping in with a small gift right now? Here's where you can securely give on our website. It's low-hanging fruit. It doesn't cost anything. You can make it very soft as an ask in the email. It doesn't feel like a bait and switch. And we see consistently donations coming through that. It's an effective means of continuing to pay for the cost of creating the ebook and then making it revenue positive. What about the donation and selection amounts? We've already talked about the main message in the ask. Well, you need to give them guidance on how much to give. They need to know. Have you ever gone to a new restaurant or a new country? I'll use that example. We visited Europe recently, and you're sitting in a restaurant and you're trying to figure out what's normal for tipping. Has anyone else had that experience? Like, is this one of those countries where we do tip? Is this a country where we don't tip? Like, what's expected of me? And you get this like anxiety, like, I don't want to make the wrong choice. Donors get that on a donation page, and we've seen it in our research. So in this page, we had an open field. You just tell us how much you want to give. And we tested it against form fields, 50, 100, 150, other, with the $100 pre-selected. All right. And we said on the page, for a gift of $100 or more, you'll get this renowned biblical commentary on the New Testament. All right. So it's a big, meaty, right, tome to read. 34.7% more donations, but a 16.4% lower average gift. So here's what we found. People were actually willing, when they donated on the control, to make a higher average gift when it was an empty field. Because they're like, oh, that's a big commentary. It's probably really expensive. I'm going to make a bigger than $100 gift, right? So we did lose some average gift, but we made more revenue in the long run because we gave clarity on how much was expected, what a good gift amount was. And that's the point here that you want to lean into. Give clarity. Form buttons are a great way to do that. Suggested donation amounts are a great way to do that. What about the required fields? We talked about this for the landing page just moments ago. But did you know it impacts emails too in donations? Let's take a look at some tests. You want the donation form on the page itself. Do not have an e-commerce checkout experience. Get off that as fast as you can. If you're on Colorado Gives Living platform, you don't need that. You don't have a checkout process. But if you're not on Colorado Gives Giving platform and you're on an older e-commerce style platform where you're adding something to cart, you're going to lose conversions. And here's some examples. So this is Support Boys Town. I'd have to click that to go make the gift on another page. But when we embedded the donation form on the page itself, so they could give on the page, we had 349% more donations. Because I don't have to go somewhere else to make the gift. Does that make sense? That button, Support Boys Town, it would load a whole new part of the website where it'd be an e-commerce style checkout. It's just not beneficial. You want to keep it on the same page. You want to maximize your form space so it feels like less work. We talked about this already, but look at it on a donation page. This to this. We're asking for the same information, my friends, on this page. All we did was combine lines, city, state, and zip on one line, email and preferred phone on one line, credit and verification code on one line. Do you see that? Simply by combining form fields on one line, we got 40% more donations. And when I see stuff like that, it just reminds me, man, the smallest thing can impact my revenue goals. Like all we did here was just change the layout to make it feel like less work. And we got 40% more revenue because we're getting 40% more donations. Like it's mind blowing, but that's the kind of thing you can do from the start. Because you don't need to go and start with this. You can create your donation page to look like this, and you're already going to get more donations as a result of it. Finally, trust markers and security reinforcement. Trust and security. Why are we talking about this? Because we need to show how secure the page and forms are. People are afraid. Anyone had someone they know suffer identity theft? I know I have. You have this in the back of your mind, your donors do. So how are we reinforcing the fact that their money and their information is safe with us? All right, let's take a look. This was Caring Bridge's website. Amazing organization. This was their website form. All right. We tested on the left, adding a box around the credit card field. Do you see that? And adding a little icon of a lock. Now, here's what's funny, friends. This form is just as secure as this form is. We didn't change security at all. We just reinforced it with a little lock and that box around it, and we increased donations 14%. Someone asked in the chat, for the preset donation amounts we talked about last fall, how to determine how you should set those. Should we use the same numbers or lower, or maybe even more because they're getting something? That's a great question. I typically like to align it with the perceived value in my mind of an ebook. So I generally don't see people wanting to give more than an average gift of $30 to $50 for a free PDF. If I'm getting a film, like something like a documentary, right? If I'm getting a course, an online course, that has a higher perceived value. So I could see going even higher with that. Maybe you go $75 because it's a really robust course. But I like to look at your giving history to see what your average gifts have been, but then also what am I giving? And what do I think would be a reasonable perceived value for that free item that I'm getting? Does that make sense? Awesome. Another thing to do with your forms is to use steps. So here's the control donation page. Here's the treatment. All we did was add step 1, step 2, step 3. So instead of just billing information, we said step 3, please provide your billing information. All we did was call out the steps of the form, and we increased donations 31%. Remember when I said people are dory? They need to know what they're supposed to do next. We didn't change what we were asking for. We didn't change the order. We just simply said, hey, step 1, how much would you like to give? Step 2, please give your secure payment information. Step 3, please give your billing information. Stepped language works. You want to reinforce how credible you are and what a good decision the donor is making in giving. Here's an example of that. This was Dallas Theological Seminary, their control page, the treatment page, all right? And had no trust marks on the page. So look, these are the trust markers on the bottom. So this is their trust, like, they've been validated by these orgs. And then this one added Charity Navigator. So they just added a third one. So they wanted to see, take them away, add a third. Here's what's really interesting. Removing trust marks at an 82% statistical significance actually had an increase in donations. It wasn't valid to 95% or greater, but it was getting there. But adding a third trust mark at a 92% level of confidence increased donations 64%. So it's possible that for Dallas Theological Seminary donors, at least, Charity Navigator really matters more than the ECFA or these others. So don't be afraid to test this, is my point. We need to show them we're credible, and some areas of credibility go farther than others. We actually, for a test, made up a trust marker. We just said, like favoritenonprofit.org or something, just to test what would happen. It increased gifts to have it there, even though I didn't have any name brand recognition. So those are options that you have in there. All right. That's your donation page. That was your landing page. And now we're going to talk about promoting it. Yes. For someone in this room, that's probably the moment they've been waiting for the longest. Like, okay, Artie, enough about building pages. How do I just get people to see it? Well, in the field of dreams, they said, if you build it. they will come. Anyone see that great classic film? All right. But the problem is that's not how the internet works. If you build the landing page and the donation page, they will not necessarily just magically come and find it. Instead, they will most certainly not come unless you tell them about it. That's my quote for Field of Dreams there. You need to tell them about it. Jamie, I see you unmuting. Do you have a comment? Or, okay, never mind. All right. So how are we going to get people to see this? We're going to first reach our existing email subscribers. And this is a reminder to the session 2 months ago with Nathan, where we talked about the donor welcome series and the 8 emails you could send. We said there's a content offer email. This is that email. You can make this part of your welcome series. And for anyone who's existing donors, you can send it to them now. And you can give this to them for free. All right. When we did our research on the nonprofit recurring giving benchmark study with Kindful, we found that 13% of organizations sent 0 cultivation to their donors. 13% of organizations sent 0 cultivation to their donors. And when we looked at, in that same study for cohort organizations, donors received 61% fewer cultivation emails than subscribers. Think about how backwards that is. The idea of email cultivation is to cultivate a relationship, provide value, remind me why you matter. Wouldn't you want to do that the most with those who are donating to you? But yet in the market, that's not what's happening. On average, nonprofits are sending less cultivations to donors, which means donors are probably getting a higher ratio of emails asking for money than emails giving them value. Do you see the difficulty in that? You want to give them value. You want to cultivate. So key takeaway here, if you have a new offer, send it to your existing donors because it's amazing email cultivation. It's amazing value that they can receive. All right, so we're going to take a look at one of these emails. This is a content offer email for Food for the Hungry, and we're going to break it down. 1 at a time, your free gift from Food for the Hungry. Download your ebook, all right? And we're going to show how they provide autonomy, commitment, and competency and prove those areas in the email. So we're gonna start right here in the email, and I'm going to start highlighting this for you. You're going to offer the free valuable resource, all right? And then we're going to scroll down here. We're going to show how the connection of the resource connects to the mission. So I'll read this to you. I know that these stories will resonate with you. They show you the passion we have for our work as we, 1, help people see that they have a future. 2, bring about long-term transformation in the neediest communities. 3, lift people out of poverty. 4, teach and help people grow their own healthy, self-sustaining farms and gardens. 5, help impoverished children receive the food and education they need, which can lead to helping the whole community. All of this alignment is in there. And if you read it right before that, the email said at the beginning, I have a unique opportunity for you. I'd like to give you a gift, our free ebook, 1 at a time. Please take a moment to download it here because it offers a glimpse into the history of Food for the Hungry and the heart of our founder, Larry Ward. Do you see how they're connecting the ebook to the heart and soul of the mission for their existing subscribers? How they're making it sound personal. They're not saying, dear value donor. They're saying, dear Edwards. Dear Edward, if you've been looking for a way to follow God's calling and bring lasting life change to those who are hurting, today's your day to do just that. They're aligning it with Edward's heart for the hungry. Now you might look at this and say, well, how do they know Edward has a heart for the hungry? Well, he signed up for their email, so the hope is he does. And if he doesn't have a heart for the hungry, then he probably really shouldn't be on their email list, right? And it's okay for him to realize that and unsubscribe because you're saying that's what you're assuming he has. We don't need to be afraid that language like this will cause some unsubscribes to happen, because if we're being true to our mission and who we are, anyone who unsubscribes because they don't agree with that, we bless them and let them go on their way because they're not part of our mission, and that's okay. We don't need to be afraid of that. All right. Just a little call out there. So we're going to offer the valuable resource. We're going to show the connection to that mission. And if available, we're going to add some ideas of social proof to the email. So here's a control email. There was no social proof. I'm sending you this free resource in case you missed it. Our ebook, Genesis, Chapter 1, A Scientific Perspective by astrophysicist Hugh Ross. The treatment email adds this to it. Over 8,000 friends of the ministry have already downloaded this resource. Many tell us that this is one of the resources they had that they shared the most with friends. Here's a quick note from someone who's doing just that. And they have a quote from someone named Doug who rated the ebook 5 stars. They added that to the email, and look what it did. It increased donations 60%. This email was promoting the link to get the ebook. But when they visited the landing page, not only did they increase their signups, they actually then donated more on the donation page and had a down funnel impact simply by providing the social proof in it. Now, someone's going to probably say, but Artie, this is my first content offer. I don't have social proof. Well, what if you took a moment to share that first content offer with some trusted donors before you send it to the rest of the file and say, hey, Jordan, you're one of our most important friends of our ministry. Would you take a minute and just take a look at this new ebook? We made it to help people like you who have a heart for our work better understand X, Y, and Z. I know, Jordan, that describes you to a T. So I wanted, before I shared this with the rest of the audience, I wanted to hear your thoughts. Now you've made Jordan feel like $1 million because she is a valued partner in your work and she's getting to speak into something before everyone else does. You see how special that makes Jordan feel, right? And then you get social proof that you can add to your email to suddenly get 60% more donations, maybe. Results may vary, but we're seeing that it works, right? All right. Don't forget to make the email look like it is from a real person, not a marketing machine. This is always 101 on our emails. Jordan's laughing because it's all Nathan and I talk about. But here's what I mean. This was an organization. This was their control email. All right. Big buttons, big headers, big flashy things. And this was their control donation page. All right. So email had it. Donation page had it. We changed the funnel for the treatment. Email really stripped down. Donation page really stripped down. Do you see how much more stripped down this donation page is? 272% more donations. And do you see the compounding effect of optimization? They didn't just optimize the email design. They said, hey, what about the donation page? Can we optimize that? They did both together, tested it together. Massive growth because it's a compounding effect of optimization. All right. So then, content offer email checklist. Does your subject line sound authentic and prompt interest? Does your body copy focus on what they're getting without focusing too much on you? Does your call to action, all right, reinforce the value of the offer and the impact it'll have on the reader? And does your design look like from an email from a real person or something sent using a marketing template? If you check off each of these boxes, you are ready to go and you can send this to email to your subscribers. I'll just make a note here. I was recently helping a client promote an online course for families, and we added simple bullet points in the messaging. When you complete this online course, you will be equipped to, and we listed 4 things the course will equip them to do. Improved donor conversion, improved signups. Why? Because we were aligning it with the impact they were going to get. All of this are tactics that as you start doing them will become easier and easier for you to include, and you'll see engagement grow. But what if I want new subscribers, Artie? This is great. You just showed me how to use my content offer for everyone I already got. Okay, fine. Those are the people I already have, Artie, but I came to this training to get new donors and new subscribers. All right. Well, this next part of the training is for you. Optional. Create posts, whether organic or paid, to promote this new offer on social media. You want to go to your existing subscribers because they're most likely to become donors. So do that first. But now you need to grow your subscriber list and your donor audience, and you need to do it by doing this, creating posts, promoting it. The key question, though, is how do you create an effective Facebook post, right? In the words of Lord of the Rings, one does not simply walk into Meta with a winning Facebook post. And that's absolutely right. So, proven strategies for you that I'm going to walk through quickly, but they're all here and there's more in the Institute course training I'll show you at the end. Proven strategy number 1, short copy often leads to more clicks, but long copy leads to more conversions. I'll say that again. Short copy on an ad will often get more clicks, but less conversions. So here's short copy. Gain a deeper understanding of heaven. This week, my daily devotion focuses on that. Sign up and get these devotions in your inbox. That's the control. Here's the treatment. Many people think of heaven as something surreal, dreamlike, and he starts explaining with copy why this might actually matter to me. Is this longer? Yes, it's twice as long. But what happened? 316% more emails. Prime them. Show them what they're going to be getting. Strategy number 2, focus on the value to the reader, not your organization. This is Wesley Family Services Healthy Relationships video series. Listen to this language. Who's the hero? We understand, and we've been in your shoes. That's why we made the Healthy Relationships curriculum and why we made this free video series for you. Who's the hero? Us. We. So no, don't be we. Do this. In this free video series, you'll find video lessons that will do this. When you sign up, you'll get this series. You'll get a series that's already been used. And now your child that you care for can too. Do you see how we went from we to you? Check your ad copy. Is it we or is it you? Is it about us or about the reader? Because if it's about the reader, look what happens. 48% more conversions when they did that. And 172% more donations. So they got 48% more signups. But after signing up, people were 172% more likely to donate. So it doesn't just increase signups, it increases the entire funnel. Proven strategy number 3, make your call to action abundantly clear. Well, I'll just read this ad so you can see what I mean. In a world that is deviating further and further from the life-giving, God-honoring principles of the Bible, we as parents want to say, like Joshua, as for me and my household, we'll serve the Lord. Renew your commitment to live according to the truths and pass those down to the next generation. Let's boldly proclaim that we believe in the Bible. What am I being asked to do? That sounds like a lot of work, right? And then down here, sign the parenting pledge. But wait, I thought you said I'm boldly proclaiming. Wait, you said renew my commitment. What if we align it? That's why we want to invite you to sign the pledge to boldly proclaim that you wholeheartedly believe this and want your kids to live it. Add your name today. It's a simple addition. I'll be honest. I still look at this and think it could be better because this all sounds like a lot of work. And I didn't wake up this morning saying, gee, I want someone to ask me to boldly proclaim something. Like that sounds scary. But even doing this small addition increased emails 31%. If you're looking at it, you're like, well, that's a Christian nonprofit. My sector is completely different. It's the principles here that matter. That's why I'm showing it to you. This isn't cause-based. It's not faith-based. It's human-based. As human beings, we need to know what's going to happen if I take the action you're asking me to take. What's it going to cost me? What am I going to get out of it? This is what matters to us. And if we clarify that, even with simple tweaks, we can see huge results. So if you've been tracking from home, you are now able to get an email through implementing your acquisition page, to get a donation through your instant donation page, and build a network by promoting your offer. Well done. All right. So what's our homework? I know that was a lot, and there was so much in this. I wanted to make sure we had time for Q&A. So that's why I went a little bit quicker through these slides today, because I really wanted us to be able to get to your questions and make sure that you feel empowered to address the homework. Because I'll be honest, it is a decent amount of homework this month, but it's important because this is how you're going to start growing that subscriber and donor list and being a different organization than all your peers that are doing the same thing on Facebook right now, which is just saying, give us money for this, give us money for that. No, get this amazing resource, change your mind, change your understanding, experience something powerful, and then you can also give us money. So what is your homework? Well, if my mouse will respond, there we go. Create your offer landing and donation pages. That's your homework part 1. You're going to create those pages. You don't need to use Unbounce. You can use whatever tool you have. WordPress. 90% of the nonprofit websites I go to are built in WordPress. WordPress has amazing landing page generators built right in that you can use for free. You don't need to be fancy with your first one. In fact, if you remember, some of the ugliest looking landing pages outperform the best looking ones. So don't be worried if it doesn't look fancy. Just ask yourself that checklist. Am I being clear? Am I showing why it matters? Am I talking about the subscriber more than myself? So that's homework part 1. Homework part 2, email this to your house file. You want to create an authentic email promoting the offer and leading to the landing page to send to your house file. That's your second part of your homework. And to help you with that, we have, again, a QR code where you can scan that. It'll lead to the form where you can submit your homework for review and you can get feedback on it. Also, you have other ways of diving deeper that we always want to remind you of. You have included in your Next After Institute membership the online donor acquisition course. This is normally a $299 value course. It is free for you in your membership. And it has not only the material we just walked through, but hundreds and hundreds of slides of additional research and ideas. So if you are walking through this going, Artie, I need more, show me more on that point, it's all there. And I'll be honest, this was one of the hardest presentations for me to put together because it was hard picking which research to show you, because there's just so much that we have in that course. So if you enjoyed this, please, please, please take advantage of the online institute because you'll be able to get so much more out of it. You can access all of those digital fundraising courses for free. Just scan this QR code. It's an incredible value for you. And the level up resources that you have, please take advantage of them. It was already mentioned in chat, Catch a Fire. That's an incredible community of experts that will help you. I'm not a developer. I'm not a coder. You might not be a developer or coder, but with Catch a Fire, you can get help from people who are, and they can get that going. And when you're building your donation pages and your website, don't forget to embed that donation form. When you're making that instant donation page, embed the donation form from Colorado Gives so that you're not driving them somewhere else. They're able to give right there on the page with little friction. So that is what I have now. We have time for questions here. So I will open that up for questions from you all as you're thinking through what we walked through. And any questions that come up after today, pop them in the Slack channel. I will be happy to address them there. And I know Jordan is there as well, and your cohort is there. So after last month's session, we had some great conversation in Slack. So we love to keep that going. There is no bad question. And it even can be a question from last month if you're still catching up on homework. You're like, I haven't even picked my ebook yet or my quiz. That's fine. We can address those as well.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, Heather.
Okay, this is just a strategy, I guess. We kind of made 2 free content offers in the recent past, and I'm curious. The thought was, if somebody signs up for one, they get it, and in the email that they get, they're also offered the other one. They're just like, it's a link to a page or whatever. It's a free thing. Does that make sense or not make sense to like offer everything all at once? And my original thought was, I don't want to make somebody sign up for something twice, but maybe that doesn't work.
No, Heather, that's a great question. I believe in getting the maximum value of the effort that goes into making a resource as possible. So because of that, my inclination is always to separate them out as separate offers and promote them with their own high value email. Because this ensures,
Okay.
Heather, each offer gets the opportunity to really stand in the limelight and be reinforced as to the value for the subscriber. The other thing it gives you is it gives you now 2 months of free content offer cultivation content. And that's what I love about it. So you can send one of these emails in May, and then June or July, you can come out and say, hey, we have this brand new exclusive resource. And it allows you to start generating this even expectation in the inbox that, hey, when I joined Heather's list, I'm actually getting stuff that matters to me and stuff that I'm excited about. And so I would suggest separating them out. And when you separate it out, I would continue the same funnel format where an email points to a landing page, points to a donation page, and then they get the autoresponder email with the actual PDF. Because when you follow that format we've seen in our testing, it increases alignment, it increases perceived value, and it actually increases the likelihood they read it. This is why, like our Next After Institute courses, we've looked at when we've had them just free to everyone, and the completion rates go down to abysmal. Like the completion rates are just super small because there was no actual perceived skin in the game for the user. And so with a free PDF, having a form just aligns their commitment, right? It's showing, I really do want this. And it actually increases their likelihood of giving on the donation page. We've seen that too. So like if we take the form out and we just have the PDF on a page they can download, and then it loads an instant donation page, we still see lower gifts because they didn't pre-qualify themselves through the form.
Okay. So can I ask a follow-up question to that?
Yeah.
Do you also suggest, we also put these like on our website of just, here's some interesting resources. We've made some other stuff, whatever. But then if someone clicks that button, it takes them to the landing page. They have to fill out a form. They get an email. Then like on that same original web page, it's like, do you want this content offer? And then right below it is, then there's this guide too, but it's the same thing. Then they'd have to go there, fill it out, do it again. I don't think anybody's doing all of them at once, but does that make sense? Or should we arrange it differently?
No, that's actually a brilliant thing to do, because that becomes your one-stop shop, if you will, of the valued content aligned with your mission that subscribers can get. And that becomes something else you can promote in an email. So if you have, so we had this at the nonprofit I worked at prior to joining Next After. We ended up going all in on this content offer idea. And in my first year there, we probably created 6 or 7 exclusive brand new PDFs of content. And we hosted them on our free resources page. And that's what we called it, free resources. And we then would promote that page regularly as a cultivation email. Hey, Jordan, I know you're a recent subscriber. So excited to have you here at our organization. Did you know that we have 7 exclusive free resources that were tailor-made for people like you who are passionate about A, B, and C? If you haven't checked those out recently, here's a link where you can go and request any of them to be freely sent to you. And then we have a landing page of landing pages, if you will. So that's actually a great model, Heather. And it starts generating a flywheel of content. My favorite moment in every nonprofit I worked at was the moment where we had created enough content offers that I could promote a different one every month of the year back to my house file. Because we always had new subscribers coming in, right? And so if I released it in May, I'll promote it again the next year, maybe in June. And suddenly there's all these people that didn't even know we had it, and they're signing up for it. And as they're signing up for it again, they're getting an opportunity to donate. And what's great about this is you can get donations outside of your year-end campaign or these big giving seasons, just evergreen throughout the year through people going through these content funnels from the owned house file email list that you have.
Okay, awesome. So I'm always afraid of like annoying people with too much of the same thing, but you're telling me I'm good.
Here's what's annoying, Heather. I'll just tell you what's annoying. What's annoying is a lot of emails for the user that are all about the organization and don't actually take time to learn about the user's values, align with it, with the organization, and provide for them. That's what annoys users. Free content doesn't. I don't see the spam rates. I don't see the report rates or anything like that on these emails when they're done right. Now, if you present a free content offer and it's very marketing machine looking and it's just like, it sounds like the Sham Wow guy, that's not probably going to be effective. Sorry, Sham Wow reference. Maybe I dated myself, but you know, probably not going to be. You got it. Yeah. Like but that's not what you're going to write, Heather, right? That's not your style. And
Right.
so I think that's again where we have to get in our minds looking at email and message frequency, not through the lens of just strictly how many messages am I sending, but through the lens of what's the content of that message and is it really valuable?
Roger that. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course. Amazing question. Someone else.
All right, I had to unmute myself. There was a question from Athena in chat, and it was around her performing arts organization, and just kind of like she's having trouble just thinking of what content offers actually create.
That is an amazing question. Athena, sorry that I missed that in chat. So Jordan, thank you for pulling that one up to our attention. I'm curious, Athena, if you feel comfortable unmuting yourself just to answer a couple questions on that. And if you can't, that's fine. I'm curious about your organization. Does your performing arts organization do performances in the community? Like, is there an annual play or drama or singing performance? New message. Perfect. Coming down. Yes. Great. So do you ever record those? Like, do you ever take a video of it? Looks like a head nod. So I'll take that as a yes. If you do, that could actually be a great piece of free content. You can actually promote people an exclusive recording of this community, not for public use. See if you can take an excerpt of it. If there's a performer that would allow you to share it, to highlight what they're able to do. Because when I used to volunteer with performing arts organizations, Athena, when I was in high school, and we were always looking for more volunteers, we're always looking for more participants. And our best way of getting people to do that was to attend one of our shows. Because people would sit in the audience and they go, oh, it's like a 12-year-old and he's like doing this. How does that happen? I want my 12-year-old to do it, right? It's like this proof of concept. But it's hard to get people in the room, right? That's hard. But year round, you can get people in the room with an exclusive recording. And it doesn't even have to be at a show. If you have a rehearsal, take a video on an iPhone of one of these. Make a short video. Take several of those. Package them together and send that as a free content offer so people can experience the value of what you're doing in performing arts. Something else you could do is, I'm sure you have coaches or trainers, right, who are teaching this to all of these who are in the room. What if you put one of them on camera and they just walk through for a couple minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, their top 5 tips for anyone who wants to become better at singing or better at acting or better at monologuing or whatever it is that skill set is, and then offer that to anyone who's aspiring and wants to learn and say, hey, does your kid want to become better at acting? Or do you wonder if you've got the gift of singing? Why don't you take this exclusive training? It's only going to take you 5 minutes that will revolutionize how you approach learning and improving your skills. Or a quiz. I love that, Jordan. Is your kid an actor? Like here, take the quiz, find out. Next concert is Star Wars. So there are ways of showcasing Star Wars. I'm not an attorney, so maybe go to Catch a Fire to ask attorneys on Catch a Fire. But I would suspect if you had a kid dressed up in a sheet with a lightsaber, looking like a Jedi, but you never said Jedi, and you just said, hey, you're never going to want to miss this out of this world, or not in a galaxy far away, you're going to be able to attend this. Like, there's ways of talking about it without actually saying Star Wars, right? In your advertising, that you're probably not going to get slapped with anything. Again, I'm not an attorney, but I would think you'd be safe just showing what, hinting at what it is. People look at it, know what it is. You could, like, in a galaxy far, far away, I don't think is copyrighted. So you can even use that tongue in cheek in your messaging. And you can also then connect it, right? Like if you're promoting that event, say, hey, do you know if you have what it takes to put on something like this or become part of something like this? Take our quiz to find out. And you can even present it with that kind of, do you have what it takes idea, right? Because I think we get competitive and we're like, yeah, I think I could do that, or my kid could do that. All right, take the quiz. And then the next step is easy. Hey, you just scored a 5 out of 5. That's amazing. Have you considered finding out more and joining us? Here's how you can do that. Or maybe you don't really want to join us, but you want to make this possible for kids who can't afford the traditional route. They can't afford those high expensive agents and classes. 100% of your donation makes education in our community like this possible. Here's where you can chip in. I think, Athena, there's a lot of opportunities there to stay true to who you are as performing arts, but by providing the content that will get people excited. For sure. Awesome. I love these practical questions. We still have a couple minutes here, so I think we have time for one more if someone wants to be brave and ask it either in the chat or on camera, either way.
Marty, I have one if no one else does, but please, if someone else wants to raise a hand or put one in chat, please do. Okay, so right before we jumped in this webinar, we were talking about recurring giving and that this is the time of year to potentially be asking for those types of gifts. Could this strategy be applied for people to set up monthly gifts? Or is this really for subscribing email or one-time donations?
That is an amazing question, Jordan. It absolutely can work for recurring giving. There's actually a ministry that my team's working with right now where we offered as an incentive to become a recurring donor a free ebook. And we said, hey, here's the impact your recurring gift makes on people and families 365 days a year. As a special thank you, when you join this exclusive community of sustaining partners, we want to give you a free copy of this resource that'll encourage your heart daily with the stories of the lives you're saving or changing. It actually can work really well. And just so for everyone who's wondering, wait, why recurring giving in the spring? We see that there's a resonance in donor files when we send this out in email or on appeals because of the fact that year-end season, they probably made a one-time donation, right? It's December, so they're making their one-time gift. The spring, it's a new year. There's this newness in the air. There's this sense of life in the air. And you're able to go to those donors with a message of sustaining the support and sustaining the impact from December. So for anyone I know who donated in December, I often like to say, hey, Jordan, thank you again for your year-end gift last December. It meant so much to us. I don't know if you know this, but one-time donations like that are a huge part of what we do. But the needs that we face in our community don't just exist in December. They're day in and day out struggles. And that's why I was wondering if you'd be willing to consider extending the streak of support and your impact by becoming a sustaining donor. Our sustaining donor program is really what enables us to make plans for the future, to have a reliable source of income to meet the needs of the community that we serve, and has the most outsized impact on our ability to expand. So would you just consider joining this exclusive group of people? I don't know if you know this, Jordan, and this is something I love doing, Athena, is saying how many of our donors are actually recurring, because a lot of times people don't realize how small it is. So I've actually tested this, and I'll say, did you know, Jordan, less than 3% of donors to our organization give on a recurring basis? But yet our most stable source of support that enables us to unlock this and this and this are those 3% of donors. That's why I'm really hoping, Jordan, you can become part of this group, because this is where our impact gets leveled up. And if you can't, that's fine. Nothing will change my appreciation for your year-end gift. It's amazing, and we are so grateful for it. But I hope you can take this chance to increase your impact. And that kind of approach, that kind of messaging, we find, especially in spring, resonates really well. It doesn't mean you can't do it in other months. By any means, do it. But doing it can work really well in the spring, and aligning a content offer with that can be great, especially if it's an offer that can connect nice and dovetail into that year-round support message, right? So like Athena, if your offer is showing the actual product that the donor's gift is creating in terms of this is what our students look like, this is what they're doing, you can say, this is the kind of experience that you can make possible 365 days a year. The smile on Jimmy's face when he finished that number that you just saw, that's the smile you get to put on children's faces year round when you become a recurring donor to our organization.
Well, I'm inspired. Well, I mean, thank you so much. I learned so much in these right along with all of the Level Up participants. And I know I wasn't spotlighted, but on a couple of those studies that you did, I was like, what? 300 and what percent? You know, so I think it's just really proof, of course, for the actions we're asking these Level Up participants to take, but also I think it's proof to take back to the board and the skeptics that might think otherwise, because I think we all, you know, deal with explaining what we're learning in this program and how it can be helpful with more traditional, you know, staff members or board members. So I'm just so appreciative of all of this knowledge. Artie, is there anything that you want to say to close us out before we meet for the last time next month?
Next month is our last meeting. So I am not looking forward to that. It's already been such a joy getting to know you and work with you these last 2 months together. My only parting comment is to what Jordan just said. I walked those difficult conversational roads at the 3 nonprofits I worked at. Please, if you're running into those issues, Slack me. I check that Slack. I keep an eye on it as much as I can. And I would absolutely love to help you think through how to nuance and show that message, because it is a winning one. And I know the homework this month it's a lot. I know you got to create a landing page. You got to create a donation page. I know that some of you are already going, I don't even know where to begin. Take a breath as you're thinking through it. Go to Catch a Fire, go to Slack. These are all very doable things, and the rewards are there. I know it because I see it every time something like this gets launched. And you will catch a fire, pun intended, with this kind of approach. So thank you all for your time. It's been an absolute honor to meet with you.
Thank you all. Have a great month. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.